We are here to roast some makeup today. I'm gonna somewhat quickly go through the worst makeup that I've tried so far, okay? The things to avoid. This is of course like a personal preference. I am 41 years old, I live in a hot and humid climate, I have oily combo skin, and I don't like really sticky, dewy makeup that moves around on my skin. And always when I talk about these things, it's a personal preference. Some things that I hate you might love, vice versa. That's totally fine, but I do my best to kind of like explain to you why I don't like something so that you might know whether or not we have the same preferences. And sometimes you might realize that the things that I hate you might love for the exact same reasons. I'm gonna start with like foundation, and then I'm gonna move my way through complexion products and a few lip products, and we're gonna end with the worst 3 palettes that I have tried in 2025. I did recently do a best products that I've tried this year so far. I did split that up into like makeup products and then a separate one for, I also included some fragrances in that one. And then I did a separate one for palettes. I'll try and remember to leave a link to that down below because you're interested. Those are already live on my channel. I will put all these things down in the description box in case you are interested in checking them out. Maybe just to make sure to avoid this exact one, but again, maybe you're interested in them. I did film this look that I'm wearing right now. It should already be live on my channel. It's the one where I am using the Glamlight and Lord of the Rings palette. This one is available now. Let's start with the one foundation slash skin tint that I have tried this year where I was like, not for me. And that is the NYX Buttermelt Glaze. I have heard quite a few people really enjoying this. For me, this is exactly what I don't like. This says that it is a soft glow skin tint with SPF 30. I don't think there's a soft glow. I think this is very glowy, and especially on me, like I said, I have oily combo skin and I'm very oily in my T-zone. This, just within a few hours, even when I wear a mattifying primer, turns extremely oily on me to the point where the products on my face are just kind of like floating around on top of the oils, and I just feel like this one makes me even oilier even quicker. So if you have oily combo skin and you don't enjoy being super dewy, maybe this one isn't for you. I have heard people liking this one, but for me, this definitely did not work out for me. It turned me... There's a difference between being like a little bit dewy fresh and just being greasy, do you even own a shower? This was the latter. I'm looking here, I have 3 different bronzer products that I didn't like. Oh my gosh. Let's talk about this one first because I feel like this is the easiest one to explain why I didn't like it. And this is the Cabana Club Blurring Bronzer from Polite Society. I have it in Club Tropicana. I'm putting this a little bit away from my face because these, I got these sent to me in PR. I got all 4 of them sent to me in PR. I got them before they were released, and all 4 of mine smell rancid. Really, really bad, to the point where I'm just like, is there something wrong with the formulation? Are they supposed to smell like this? Because sometimes makeup goes bad. Like sometimes things go off. Like it is what it is. Makeup isn't made to last for forever, but I don't feel like it should smell rancid before launch date. It just kind of smells like fermented crayons, and I just think that this smells like it's gone off, quite honestly. So I will say I don't mind this product. It actually looks really pretty on the skin. I had to just try it out. Listen, I took one for the team, but I would, if you are interested in this, first of all, there are a lot of great bronzers on the market. Maybe don't take the chance with this. Buy it in store and ask them to smell it first, or maybe at least smell the testers. Do some kind of like precautionary like something before you buy this one, because like I said, I got sent these before they were released in PR, and all 4 of mine smell rancid. So I don't think that that is the way that the formulation should be. I also really didn't enjoy, and I usually think that Makeup Revolution makes really interesting and good complexion products, but these were the bronzer sticks that they released. I think these are part of their Skin Silk range. So these are the Skin Silk bronzers. I think that these tug on my foundation. They're not super easy to blend out, and when I'm blending them out, I feel like I lift my foundation, which is just really unfortunate because like I said, usually I feel like Makeup Revolution makes really good complexion products. I really enjoy, like I talked about one of their complexion products in my favorites, and this is another shade that I have. I have 2 of the shades. I just feel like they have better products than this on the market that are easier to blend out, a little bit more emollient, that don't like lift when you're trying to like really blur them out. I would say get another cream bronzer, even though that one is from the drugstore. There are better ones from the drugstore that I would recommend. I also personally did not like the one from Rare Beauty. There's something about this formulation that feels greasy to the touch, but at the same time, I feel like it dries down too quickly. Again, when I'm really trying to perfect this one and blend it into my like complexion and make it look even and blended and blurred, I end up wanting to blend longer than this formulation permits me to. Like this one wants to dry down before I feel like I'm done with blending, but still I feel like it's a little bit like greasy to the touch. So this is like the worst of both worlds. I've seen some people really enjoying this one, but for me, I feel like it's a little bit hard to blend out. It dries down too quickly, and still I don't kind of love the finish that it has when it dries down. So for me, this just wasn't a perfect product for me, for my preferences and what I enjoy. I've used quite a lot of this one. This is the Huda Beauty Easy Bake Setting Spray, and I've heard from you that a lot of creators are having the exact same problem with this one as I am having. Huda Beauty is one of my absolute favorite brands. I love so many things from the brand, and I'm sure this setting spray is great. It's just the packaging is faulty. When you spray with this, regardless of how you do, you get droplets. There's something about how the packaging is. Some people were saying, oh, you need to spray it all the way down. And for me, it doesn't matter. It's just, there's droplets on my face. There's something about this packaging that is just not giving that nice spritz that you need when you're going to do a setting spray. I'm sure the formulation is great. It's just the delivery isn't perfect. I feel a little bit bad for mentioning this brand because I am going to be mentioning another product from this brand as well, but this wasn't a hit for me. And these are the pressed setting powders from What's Up Beauty. These are the Wind Dancer pressed setting powder. I have it in light and medium. I think this is medium. For me, these do somewhat set down your foundation and blur your skin a little bit, but these aren't long lasting if you have oily combo skin. This does nothing for my T-zone, and this doesn't set down my concealer. So I can't use this under my eyes because my concealer would crease within 20 minutes. And I can't use it in my T-zone because it will not keep the oils at bay. So for me, this is a powder that doesn't do anything for what I am looking for in a powder. I'm sure there are other people that this will work for, but if you are looking for something to either set your concealer or set your T-zone, unfortunately, these did not work out for me. Let's talk about a couple of blushes then, and maybe we could start talking about, because I also didn't love their Chic Terra blushes. This is the one, for me, this is too sheer of a blush. This is the color in Gentle Genova. It's not an awful product, but for me, this has a sheen to it, which is beautiful, but for me, it just ends up being a sheer highlighter with a little bit of a colored undertone. And I kind of want, if it's going to be a highlighter, it needs to be more sheeny. If it's going to be a blush, it needs to have more color. It's just way too sheer for my personal preference. But if you think a extremely sheer blush with a sheen to it sounds great, then they do have a few colors to choose from. It's not that I don't think that these will work for anyone, they're just not the kind of blush that I'm looking for. And it's the same with this one. This is the Glow Recipe Watermelon Glow Niacinamide Dew Flush. This is a very watery formula, and this is like, they're like, oh, it's not a blush, it's a skincare, because it's got niacinamide in it. But if you use blush the way that I do, which is not directly on skin or on skincare, the niacinamide is not going to do a lot for you, and it's a very watery formula that might end up disrupting your foundation, especially if you're trying to build it up, because again, this is also a very sheer formula. This is perfect if you're the kind of person who wants to have a little glow on your cheeks and you are maybe just a tinted sunscreen, no powder, very easy breezy out the door kind of a person. Then I think this could be easy, because this is very sheer, like I said, and it has a beautiful glow to it, and you can definitely blend it out with your fingers. But if you want to use this as a liquid blush, there are better liquid blushes out there that I would say maybe use your money on that instead. This is actually tinted skincare. I wouldn't say that this is something that you can use as a blush, and there are way better blushes out there. I also didn't love the Revlon Glimmer Blush Drops. This one, It has one of those packagings that is like a little dropper. I think this is the let me rephrase. I don't love the formula because it dries down too quickly and it is extremely pigmented, which makes it really hard to work with. But I also think it's the wrong formula in this dropper because it's one of those that you drop out. And since it dries down so quickly and it's so pigmented, it kind of makes it a little bit hard to work with when you're dropping it out and you're going to blend it in and it's already dried down. It's just not my favorite. Not my favorite. I feel like this one would have been way better in a doe foot. Quite honestly, this would have been better in just a almost like a poof formula and just blending it with the poof. I don't even know. Maybe it needs to be a little less pigmented, I feel. Or just in the wrong package. Something, it's just not jiving. I'm not loving the formula. It dries down too quickly. I don't like this formula in this packaging. Again, there are so many good blushes out there. Literally, the drugstore and the affordable side of Ulta is littered with great blush formulas. Don't waste your money on bad ones. Let's talk about two highlighters that I personally didn't like for two very different reasons. The first one is the L'Oreal Lumi Le Glace. So in the best products of the year, I mentioned Le Glow, which is the glowy formula. Le Glace is glassier. The finish does look glassier, but it's because it's like an oily formula. There's a lot of emollients in this one. This one is sticky. Like my hair sticks to this. I could only wear this one if I'm gonna have my hair up. And if I'm gonna be honest, the Glow formula is so beautiful. If you wanna try a cream highlighter from the drugstore, get the one that says Le Glow instead of Le Glace. Because I think that Le Glace is just too greasy and it doesn't dry down and it's sticky. But I love the Le Glow formula. For me, they're just night and day. This is not that I hate it, but I definitely don't think it's worth the price tag. This is the Luminous Silk Aqua Highlighter by Georgie Armani. This has a doe foot to it. This one, I think, this one blends into whatever you have underneath, which makes it kind of dull. And it also dries down a little bit too quickly, which like it blends into your foundation, which makes it look a little dull. And then it kind of dries down a little patchy. It's not awful, but this is an expensive product. And again, Sephora and Ulta is littered with great highlighters. There's really no need to be spending this much money on one that's just meh at best. Okay, I want to talk about a brow pencil too. And this is the e.l.f. Holy Strokes Micro Fine Brow Pen. This is one of those that is like, you know, you draw in your hairs with a little pen. This is way too sheer. Way too sheer to work out. I should probably try. This is in taupe, but usually taupe is a color that's like a little bit more universal. It's like, you know, a grayish brown. It's just way too sheer to work as the way it's intended, because you don't, I don't say you don't, but I sometimes see creators fill in their brows with one of these like felt tip or brush tip. This is a brush tip applicator, the way you would a brow pen. That's not how you use these. That's when you get a Sharpie brow. These you use and you start from the bottom and you flick it up to create hairs. And this is way too sheer to create hairs with. So this formula actually needs to be semi-opaque so that you can create believable hairs with this formula. And then I usually use something lighter for the background, like the shadow of the brows, before I go in with like a pen like this. So I think that like if you're looking for something like this to draw in hairs with, the NYX one is still the best one. They have like it's this one. It's the Lift and Snatch. Same thing, but actually great. Same thing, but actually great. Get that one instead. This one from e.l.f. It was one of those like nice try, but like, you know, not quite there. I also personally did not like the Merit lip liner. This is glossy. I will say, if you don't like lip liner, that's perfectly fine, but this is just an overpriced, glorified, glossy lipstick in a slim packaging. You will not be able to believably overline with this because it's glossy, so it's gonna look weird. You will not be able to keep your lip products within your lips with this one because this one on its own bleeds on me. So this doesn't do that. It's just a weird formula for me, and there's just no convincing me that this is not just a glossy semi-sheer lipstick in a slim packaging at an inflated price. If you don't like lip liner, that's perfectly fine, but I'm just telling you, save your money. You don't need this. It's like they say it's the lip liner for people who don't like lip liner. I'm just here to tell you, this isn't lip liner. Just save your money and use a sheer lipstick instead that you already have at home. It's the same thing. I also wanted to mention this is the Matte Balm by Pixie. I have it in Nectar, which is honestly a really, really pretty color. The problem with this one is it has a very weird taste to it. And I don't know about you, but I cannot have something on my lips without, you know, accidentally getting it in my mouth. And this has a very weird, almost like medicinal, you accidentally licked something you weren't supposed to be licking. That's what she said. And it lingers in your mouth. And I just am like, I don't need them to taste nice. I just need them to taste like nothing. And this is not nothing. So for me, this is a no-go because I cannot do that. And if you're the same and bad tastes get you to not want to use a lip product, don't get the Matte Balm from Pixie. Because for me, that had a very weird taste to it. Looked pretty on the lips though, which was unfortunate. Let me talk about the 3 palettes that I have tried in 2025 that I quite honestly am like, no, I think that these are subpar quality and you can do better. If you are interested in hearing what are the palettes that I recommend from this year that I think are the best ones so far, that video is already live on my channel, so you can check out which 12 palettes I think were the best ones so far. So number 1 and number 2 is actually going to be, again, the Glamlight Coca-Cola and Cherry Cola palette. I don't think these are good. I'm sorry. I said what I said. These are meh at best. So this is the one I like the least. This is the original taste. I've said this before. Like I said, I'm wearing the Lord of the Rings palette today, and I actually really enjoyed it. Glamlight, according to me, this is speculation. I don't know. They've never said anything like this to me before, but I am taking a qualified guess based on the experience I have as a makeup reviewer. I've been reviewing makeup online for 10 years and I own my own beauty brand. I think that Glamlight are using different factories for different collections, and I don't think all of them are created equal, and this palette is not their usual great quality. The mattes are fine, but they're not spectacular, and the shimmers are quite honestly a little boring. I just think that you can do way better from Glamlight. This is this Cherry Cola one, and quite honestly, I think this is better. But here, I think the quality is better, and I'm kind of wondering if these are made in different ways. I have no idea what's going on, or if just I don't know. I just don't think that the shimmers are the same in these. But I also think that this color story is just very mid-tone. And I'm just like, I just feel like you could do so much better from Glamlight. And I feel like the packaging of the Coca-Cola collection were much better than the actual products. I said what I said. Next is going to be this one, and it makes me sad, but this is the Tangled palette from ColourPop. I love Disney's Tangled. It's one of my favorite Disney movies. It's one of the movies that I put on when I'm like having a bad day. Honestly, I could see myself watching it today because that might make me happy. I just feel like ColourPop, when it comes to eyeshadow palettes, not their other products, I mentioned several ColourPop products in my best of 2025 so far, but when it comes to the eyeshadows, I do feel like ColourPop is a little bit in their flop era. I don't think their quality is as good as it used to be. With ColourPop, I remember a couple of years ago, we used to say it's either the good quality or the great quality. Right now with ColourPop, when it comes to eyeshadows, I feel like it's either the good quality or the meh quality, and this is very meh. They keep insisting on these like pressed glitter infused shadows, which are eye safe, but still not my favorite formula from them. Some of the mattes are good, some of the mattes are very sheer and kind of lackluster, and I just feel like they could do so much better. I don't mind the color story. I quite honestly like this color story. Purple and yellow, that sounds amazing. I love colorful eyeshadows. I just feel like, again, maybe with like this one, the best part of this palette is the packaging. The packaging is beautiful. And they had a killer product from this collection that quite honestly, I have used so much since I got that collection in PR that, I mean, I even have it here in front of me. I used it yesterday. It's the liquid highlighter. I'll talk about that in the best products of the year. So they can do great makeup. I just feel like with their eyeshadow right now, they seem a little bit lost, and I don't know why that is, quite honestly. Let me know if you've tried any duds this year. Let me know if you agree with me with these products, and if you don't, that's perfectly fine. We don't need to agree about all makeup products. I'm just trying to explain to you why these did not work out for me. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave though, because I do upload quite a lot of videos talking all about makeup products, trying to help you find your new favorite product in the just jungle of different options that are out there. But I will see you soon in a new video.